Hi everyone. When we speak of the world's largest nations, one of them often remains obscured in shadow. This is Kazakhstan, the ninth largest territory on Earth, a land paradoxically vast and empty, yet possessed of colossal riches. Today, in 2025, it stands at the epicenter of historic geopolitical shifts. Prepare to discover why this country holds the key to understanding the future of Eurasia. While the world's gaze is fixed on global conflicts and towering economic behemoths, a nation paradox lies cradled in the very heart of Eurasia, positioned precariously between two nuclear superpowers. This is the country that holds the key to Central Asia's future. It is the ninth largest territory on the planet, stretching across thousands of unbroken kilometers. Yet it remains one of the most desolate and sparsely populated places on Earth. Its wealth underpins global commodity markets, and its multi-vector diplomacy is a veritable masterclass in the art of survival within the new geopolitical reality. That nation is the Republic of Kazakhstan. And today, in 2025, it finds itself at a critical and captivating crossroads. When you conjure images of the world's titans of territory, Russia, Canada, China, or the United States, the sheer scale of Kazakhstan often defies easy comprehension. To grasp its incredible magnitude, consider this: Kazakhstan's landmass, encompassing over 2.7 million square kilometers, is roughly equivalent to the size of all of Western Europe combined, a sweep that stretches from the shores of Portugal all the way to the Polish border. Should you overlay the map of Kazakhstan onto the continental United States, its bulk would sprawl from the Pacific coast of San Diego in the southwest to St. Louis in the east. Crucially, it bears the burden of being the world's largest landlocked country, a geographical reality that fundamentally dictates its entire transportation strategy, economic vulnerability, and diplomatic playbook. This immense size means it must manage an exhaustive network of borders with 5 distinct nations, including 2 gargantuan geopolitical rivals. It boasts the longest continuous land border in the world with Russia, nearly 7,600 kilometers to the north and west, and a strategically vital, rapidly expanding artery with China to the east. Yet, despite these awe-inspiring geographical dimensions, Kazakhstan presents a stark demographic anomaly. While the entirety of Western Europe is home to over 400 million people, Kazakhstan only recently hit the 20 million population milestone in 2024, creeping slightly past 24 million by late 2025. For perspective, that is fewer inhabitants than live in the single U.S. state of Florida, yet they are distributed across an area approximately 16 times larger than Florida itself. This results in one of the most profoundly low population densities anywhere on the globe, an average of just over 7 people per square kilometer. It ranks as the 11th lowest density among all nations and, remarkably, the second most sparsely populated country in all of Eurasia, trailing only the nomadic solitude of Mongolia. Kazakhstan is, in essence, a demographic void at the very heart of the continent. Its vast, sweeping steppelands, the historical cradle of nomadic empires, now present a distinctly modern administrative challenge: how to govern, connect, and develop such an enormous, yet empty, domain. Furthermore, these desolate expanses bear the scars of environmental extremism. Kazakhstan is indelibly marked by the Soviet legacy, most notoriously the fallout zones of the Semipalatinsk nuclear test site and the haunting, catastrophic drying of the Aral Sea. The latter remains an acute environmental crisis, with ongoing, localized efforts to save the smaller North Aral Sea through specialized dam projects, like the Kokoral Dam. However, the massive South Aral Sea is a tragic loss, likely gone forever. The nation's sheer size compels it to manage a complex mosaic of ecosystems, ranging from the scorching deserts of the south to the frigid Siberian-like forests and the towering, majestic Tian Shan Mountains in the east. Kazakhstan's national narrative is one of sharp demographic reversal. At a time when most developed nations, and notably its vast northern neighbor, Russia, are grappling with rapidly aging populations and decline, Kazakhstan is experiencing a powerful, undeniable demographic boom. This growth is driven by a highly unusual combination of both a high national birth rate and a recent, sustained trend of positive net migration. The most critical factor fueling this engine is the fertility rate. Kazakhstan's total fertility rate, TFR, stands at a remarkable 3 children per woman in 2025. To place this figure into stark relief, the population replacement level required for a country to sustain its numbers without migration is 2.1. Russia's TFR hovers significantly and worryingly below that threshold, often nearer 1.5. This sustained high birth rate guarantees Kazakhstan an overwhelmingly young demographic structure. As of 2025, an astonishing 29% of the population is under the age of 14. The median age of the entire population is a youthful 29.7 years. This youthfulness represents an extraordinary demographic dividend, a tremendous economic advantage where the working age population is vastly and proportionally larger than the dependent population, the very young or the elderly. This domestic engine fuels internal consumption, generates dynamic private enterprise, and provides a vast, resilient pool of future labor, precisely what a rapidly modernizing, diversifying economy desperately needs. The pace of this natural growth is most pronounced in the warmer southern and resource-rich western regions. For instance, the Turkestan region and the major city of Shymkent reported the highest birth rates in the first half of 2025. Conversely, regions in the distant north, such as North Kazakhstan, are battling older demographics and higher mortality rates, a persistent geographical echo of Soviet-era settlement patterns. The ethnic landscape, too, has undergone a fundamental transformation since the Soviet collapse. The exodus of millions of ethnic Russians and Germans in the 1990 seconds profoundly reshaped the country's social fabric. Today, ethnic Kazakhs constitute the clear majority at 71.3% of the population. Ethnic Russians remain the largest minority at around 14.6%. This ethnic rebalancing is driving a potent national identity renaissance. While Russian remains widely used in business, media, and higher education, the government is energetically promoting the Kazakh language. This movement includes ongoing national debates and definitive, though gradual, steps toward eventually shifting the official script from the Cyrillic to the Latin alphabet, a complex, expensive, yet deeply symbolic move aimed at cementing national identity and deepening cultural ties with other Turkic-speaking nations like Turkey and Azerbaijan. Driven by opportunity, this young population is now converging, leading to a dramatic, necessary surge in urbanization. Today, roughly 63% of the population resides in urban areas, a figure that experts project will soar to nearly 70% by 2050. This growth is sharply concentrated in the 3 primary economic and political hubs, drawing in migrants like magnets. Astana, the capital, a futuristic, planned metropolis rising from the northern steppe, strategically positioned for political administration and serving as the primary destination for internal migration. In the first half of 2025, Astana recorded the highest positive net migration. Almaty, the financial heart, the largest city, a vibrant cultural and financial hub, elegantly nestled near the magnificent Tian Shan Mountains. Shymkent, the southern hub, the nation's 3rd city, millionaire and a crucial center for the rapidly growing, culturally distinct southern regions. This urban growth stimulates intense economic dynamism, but simultaneously places enormous strain on existing infrastructure, power grids, and housing, a logistical tightrope walk. The government must manage to maintain social stability and prevent economic overheating. Kazakhstan is, at its core, a resource superpower, its economy inextricably linked to the fluctuations of global commodity prices, projected to achieve a nominal GDP of $301 billion and a GDP, purchasing power parity, of $904 billion in 2025. The economy is poised for robust growth, forecast between 4.5% and 5.7%, a rate that promises to be one of the strongest in years. The bedrock of Kazakhstan's monumental wealth lies buried beneath its western deserts and the vast volatile Caspian Sea. The country holds some of the world's largest proven oil and gas reserves. Key fields define its energy prowess. Tengiz, one of the world's deepest, most complex, and highly productive oil fields, primarily operated by the Chevron-led Tengiz-Chevroil Consortium. Kashagan, a colossal offshore field in the North Caspian, infamous for its immense technical difficulty and environmental sensitivity, yet estimated to contain 13 billion barrels of recoverable oil, Karachaganak, a vast reservoir of oil and gas condensate. Critically, the overwhelming majority of this vital oil, over 80%, is exported through the Caspian Pipeline Consortium, CPC, a crucial artery that traverses Russia to the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk. This physical, unshakable dependence on Russia for its main export lifeline is arguably the single most important and defining factor shaping Kazakhstan's entire foreign policy calculus. Beyond the allure of oil and gas, Kazakhstan is a geological titan in global mining, uranium. It holds the distinction of being the world's single largest producer of uranium, supplying nearly half of the global market. This position makes it an absolutely critical, strategic partner for nuclear energy nations like the US, France, and China. The state-owned Kazatomprom maintains a dominant, near-monopoly grip on this essential sector. Critical minerals. The country commands significant reserves of gold, copper, zinc, lead, and, most importantly, rare earth minerals, REMs. As the global economy aggressively pivots toward renewable energy and electric vehicles, these REMs, which are indispensable components in everything from advanced batteries to precision weaponry, transform Kazakhstan into a crucial, indispensable node in the future global supply chain, drawing intense and highly competitive interest from both the West and China in their race for resource security. Kazakhstan wisely established its national fund, a sovereign wealth fund modeled after Norway's, designed to accumulate oil revenue and act as a massive fiscal cushion during global crises. Its assets are currently nearing $60 billion. While the nation maintains a relatively low government debt to GDP ratio of around 11.4%, the government has increasingly relied on the fund, boosting annual transfers to the state budget to finance ambitious infrastructure projects and expanding social programs, underscoring the immediate economic reliance on this immense oil wealth. Total foreign direct investment, FDI, in Kazakhstan reached an impressive and substantial $166 billion by early 2025. With the United States remaining a top-tier investor, the country has proactively made major strides in streamlining its business environment, an effort recognized by the WTO and the World Bank. In 2024, it was notably ranked 9th globally in the ease of business registration. However, Western firms consistently cite critical, long-standing concerns: the urgent need for a stronger rule of law and genuinely independent judicial oversight, more predictable and transparent tax and regulatory systems, and a deeper, sustained commitment to human capital investment. These are the persistent institutional barriers that stand in the way of the country transcending its current status as a mere resource extraction economy. Kazakhstan's foreign policy doctrine is eloquently termed multi-vectorism, a precarious and sophisticated strategy of balancing the interests of major global powers to maximize national sovereignty and economic gain. This high-wire diplomatic act has become exponentially more challenging and dangerous since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The relationship with Russia is defined by deep, physical interdependence, but a rapidly widening strategic divergence. Economics. Bilateral trade exceeded $28 billion in 2024, and Russia remains a formidable investor. However, Kazakhstan is under intense, unrelenting pressure from the West to prevent its territory from becoming a conduit for sanctions evasion, parallel imports. The Kazakh government has explicitly affirmed its commitment to comply with Western sanctions, a difficult stance that has caused localized economic disruption, but is absolutely vital for maintaining access to Western finance, technology, and capital markets. Sovereignty. Astana is signaling its independence with increasing firmness and visibility. The highly publicized ban in 2024 on a pro-Kremlin TV personality for inflammatory comments alleging discrimination against the Russian language was a clear, unambiguous signal of national resolve. Furthermore, in 2025, Kazakhstan scheduled its national military parade on May 7th in Astana, a prominent and symbolic display of national military power and a subtle but definite geopolitical marker, distinct from the traditional May 9th celebrations often emphasized by Moscow. The Eurasian Project. While a founding member of both the Eurasian Economic Union EU, and the Collective Security Treaty Organization, CSTO. Kazakhstan is clearly hedging its geopolitical bets. Its decision to accept only partner status in the expanding BRICS group rather than full membership in 2024 was a diplomatic setback for Moscow, emphatically underscoring Kazakhstan's priority on diversified global relationships over Moscow-led regional blocs. China is an equally indispensable partner, primarily through the massive Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Kazakhstan is the geographic spine of the BRI's land route, serving as the essential, unavoidable bridge between China's factories and European markets. Logistics. The Trans-Caspian International Transport Route, TITR, or the Middle Corridor, is gaining unprecedented strategic importance. This route, which snakes through Kazakhstan, across the Caspian Sea to Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, is seen by Western and NATO nations as the most viable, long-term alternative to the northern transit route that runs directly through Russia. Kazakhstan is heavily investing in expanding crucial dry ports, such as Horgos on the Chinese border, to maximize its tollgate revenue and regional logistical influence. Investment. Chinese investment is vast, focused intensely on the energy and infrastructure sectors. Managing this relationship, ensuring investments do not subtly translate into undue political leverage or dangerous debt vulnerability, is a constant, high-stakes diplomatic challenge for Astana. In parallel, Kazakhstan is actively and successfully courting the West and the broader Turkic world. Soft power. The innovative Neo-Nomad visa, launched in 2024, is a deliberate soft power maneuver designed to attract global, digitally skilled talent. This initiative also serves a secondary, strategic purpose. It helps to subtly dilute Russian cultural influence by bringing in a more diverse and globally connected expat population. The Turkic world. Kazakhstan is a key, influential member of the Organization of Turkic States, OTS. This platform significantly strengthens political and economic ties with Turkey, Azerbaijan, and other Central Asian nations, collectively creating a powerful cultural and geopolitical counterbalance to both Russian and Chinese dominance. The Global South. In November 2025, Kazakhstan is widely expected to take the historic step of joining the Abraham Accords, formalizing closer diplomatic and economic relations with Israel. This highly significant move solidifies its multi-vector approach, opening up a powerful new economic and security vector that links it directly to the dynamic economies of the Gulf and the technologically advanced Israeli market. Furthermore, in 2024, the government adhered to the Marrakech Treaty and is actively considering accession to the Lisbon and Hague Agreements, underscoring its deep commitment to integrating within the global legal and economic space. The ambitious reform program, known as the New Kazakhstan, initiated in the aftermath of the devastating January events, Kwandi Kantar, Bloody January, of 2022, is an ongoing, often difficult, process of political and economic liberalization. This transformation is best described as an erratic movement. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. A seminal moment in 2024 was the national referendum on constructing the country's first nuclear power plant, NPP. The proposal passed with a decisive 73% of the national vote. The necessity. Kazakhstan currently relies heavily on aging, highly polluting coal power plants, many dating back to the Soviet era. Despite being a massive oil and gas producer, the nation faces a severe, looming energy deficit, compounded by rapid population growth, accelerating industrialization, and high energy consumption from unregulated cryptocurrency mining operations. The MPP is viewed as the necessary foundation for future energy security and a mandatory step toward meeting its decarbonization commitments. This decision signals a profound, long-term commitment to modern, low-carbon energy infrastructure. The government has simultaneously prioritized high-level anti-corruption efforts, leading to a wave of high-profile prosecutions in 2024. The fall of elites. Former officials, including the ex-Minister of Culture and Sports, were sentenced to long prison terms for large-scale embezzlement. The most scrutinized trials targeted those implicated in the 2022 January unrest. Accountability for the January events. In a controversial move, former Interior Minister Yerlan Turgumbayev received a 5-year suspended sentence in August 2024 for abuse of power related to the events. While prosecutors have pursued charges against lower-ranking personnel for torture, human rights organizations, such as Human Rights Watch, have sharply criticized the lack of a comprehensive, effective, and independent investigation into the top-level command responsibility for the massive loss of life that occurred. These ongoing trials represent a fragile and continuous test of the government's commitment to genuine systemic judicial reform. While the government continues to promote political liberalization, such as reducing the membership requirement for officially registering a political party from 20,000 to 5,000, the operational reality on the ground remains deeply challenging. Obstacles to opposition. Opposition parties, such as ALGA Kazakhstan, have been repeatedly and systemically denied registration over 24 times since 2022. Furthermore, prominent opposition figures, such as party leader Marat Chilimbayev, have faced severe prison sentences, 7 years in his case, on charges of financing extremist organizations, charges that human rights groups globally widely condemn as politically motivated. This ongoing tension between declared reform and practical, suffocating constraints defines the current political atmosphere. Kazakhstan is far more than just a vague geographic entity on a map. It is the geographic, economic, and political linchpin of Central Asia, a colossal territory energized by the region's youngest and fastest-growing population. It remains a titanic resource powerhouse that, against the odds, is simultaneously striving to transform itself into a modern, industrialized, and digitally advanced economy through bold initiatives like the neo-nomad visa. Its geopolitical stance is a permanent, high-wire act, managing the intense economic pressure of sanctions compliance while remaining a vital energy conduit for Russia, skillfully leveraging vast Chinese infrastructure investment while fiercely safeguarding national sovereignty, and strategically deepening ties with the West and the Turkic world to secure its definitive, multi-vector future. The crucial decisions made in Astana in 2025, whether to continue the slow, arduous march toward genuine political accountability, how to spend the massive national funds reserves, and which pipelines and trade routes to prioritize, will determine not only the future well-being of its 20 million citizens, but the ultimate stability and economic trajectory of the entire Eurasian heartland. Kazakhstan is the silent giant, and its coming into focus will be utterly impossible to ignore. Please write in the comments, what surprised you the most in this video? Give a like and subscribe to the channel. Many more interesting, shocking, and informative videos are coming up.